Okay, welcome back. This is the third video in our series about how to create an automated soft with no VBA. And we're going to be talking about named ranges. Now, the last video we left you off where we had created all of the tables that we needed. But in the meantime, what I've done is pre-populate these three tables, the funds control, commodity, and resource center table. The important thing to take away from this video is that these ranges expand dynamically to your needs. So as you can see in here, I've put in things like action required, deems entry error, do not use, before I've put in my budget activities and reimbursable, so to speak. So once you get comfortable, know that these are things that you can change, and it's a huge benefit to this system that you can change them, expand them as needed. As another example, for my master cooperative agreement would normally be commodity F, but I've chosen to split that out. Commodity F 100% federal, 75-25 environmental, and so on and so on. So know that you can do that. Now on to named ranges. These named ranges are going to be critical when it comes to defining our PATEOs, or our lines of accounting. First thing I'll do is I'll just go ahead and delete these columns in between the tables. We don't need those there anymore. Just that when you're establishing the table, if I would not have put a space, it would have thought I wanted all these three to be in the same table, because they would have been three contiguous cells with data in them. But breaking them apart lets it know that I just want these to be individual tables. Okay, so just like naming a data table, we can do named ranges. Ranges can be a cell, one individual cell. I could name this cell anything I wanted to. But in this case, what we're going to do is combine the dynamic features of a data table with a named range, so that that range can expand as we continue to add things. So once I select in here, well, first we'll go back to the name manager, and again, here's our data tables, and you can see that this little icon looks like a data table. So the first thing I'm going to do in my funds control table, let's highlight this range. Now you can see over here where it says, hey, you just selected the funds control table. Because if we look at the name manager again for the funds control table, that range is actually G2 to G7. So when I select G2 to G7, it says, hey, you got the funds control table. But what I can do with a range here in this little window, because I'm not renaming the table, I'm renaming this range. I'm going to label it funds control table, or funds control list. So I'm going to just type over and hit enter. Let's see if that worked. Alright, it worked. So now I have a funds control table, and then just above that you can see the icon's not that table, it's a little tag, it looks like. This is my funds control list. And what it's showing you, instead of a range, it's doing this table nomenclature where it's saying this named range funds control list is everything in the funds control table with the field heading of funds control, which in this case it's a one field table. So that's saying that it's giving me a named range that I can use, that's intuitive and will expand at will. Just to prove that to you, well, not prove it to you, but I'll prove it to you later in a later video when we get to data validation, the next video. So that's what's important. I'm going to go ahead and highlight this first cell in the commodity table, and control shift down arrow is what I did to highlight all of these cells. It says commodity table. I'm going to do the same thing and just label it commodity list and hit enter. I'm going to go over to the resource center, and instead of a resource center table, I want resource center list and hit enter. Again, you can name these in many different ways. It's what's most comfortable to you, but know that what we've done in the background of Excel is we've set ourselves up now that we have a commodity table and a dynamic list inside that table, a funds control table and a dynamic list inside of that funds control table, and a resource center table again with that dynamic listing. So in practice, what you'll do, and you'll see later, is that you can highlight this last one, you can hit tab, which I just did, or you can just select this and pull it down but add whatever it is you want in there, and that becomes part of that dynamically evolving list as you need it. That's it for this video. The next video, what we're going to do is show you how to use those dynamic lists that we just included into our tables and include them into some drop-down boxes and what we call data validation, so that when it comes time to define our potatoes, we have consistency and clarity. Okay, see you in the next video.